In the year 2000, I was asked to participate in a National Justice Department committee that was looking at ways to transform the public safety radio system to provide for operable and interoperable communications between police jurisdictions and fire jurisdictions and all responders to an emergency. Those are really big words, but what they really mean is that very often police officers have communication radio systems that cannot listen to, talk to, or hear from the firefighter radio systems in the same town. And when you magnify that problem and realize that people, our responders in Farmington Hills, can't communicate with responders in West Bloomfield, you begin to understand the magnitude of a situation. And one occurred in Oakland County way back when there was a shooter in a Wixom plant that was taking out workers. And we had all of Oakland County's police forces and sheriff departments showing up on the scene of a Ford plant in Wixom, trying to talk to each other on their radios and let everybody know where they were so that they could find the perpetrator of the crime. And they couldn't talk to one another. We had the same problem in the Oklahoma City bombing way back in the 1990s and in the first World Trade Center bombing in 1993. So in the scheme of all of that activity, I was asked to represent local government and local elected officials on this Justice Department committee. I'm sad to tell you that when we first had our meetings on the National Task Force of Interoperability, and I was elected their vice chair, it was right after September 11th, 2001. A very sad day for all of us. On that day, the Police Department of New York had secured the scene. The firefighters were running into buildings to do what they do best, and that is save lives and get people trapped in there out. When the first tower collapsed, the police officers on the ground were shouting into their radios to get the firefighters in the second tower out of the building. On that day, 126 firefighters died because they couldn't hear the pleas on their radios from their coworkers in New York City. And the work that we did on the National Task Force on Interoperability created the first document that talked about how you move responding jurisdictions from no communication to full communication and what resources this country needs to dedicate to protect those people that dedicate their lives to protecting ours. I now serve on the Homeland Security Committee for the Practitioners Working Group on the Communications Council. We're still in the process of creating mechanisms so that our first responders can communicate seamlessly in real time. And hopefully that day will come when we can make that a reality. Until that day, please know that I've worked with Sheriff Bouchard and many of our police officers and organizations in the state of Michigan to help build an interoperable and operable radio system throughout Oakland County that's being erected at this very time, to make sure that the people who serve our communities, when they need to respond to an emergency, can talk to one another to help save our lives and keep our communities strong.